Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us live if you're watching us live. And thank you for joining us if you're listening. We are recording live at the Stooge.
Are we live?
Yes, sir. Okay. This is Where Is This Going? I just have to make sure people know that this one is live.
All right.
Here at Where Is This Going at the Stooge. We are joined today by the hardest working comedian, content creator that I know here in Grand Rapids. I don't know a lot of people. I have to make that perfectly frank. Mr. IceColdComedian, Mike Logan. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give him a round warm of applause. Please, can we get the applause? Awesome, we have applause.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like we're in the Thunderdome.
Yeah. But so happy to have you here, Mike. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule because, like I said, you are a hard-working guy. You're always on the move and making something, whether it's food or content, which I guess food is content.
Food's content. You absorb it in your body the same way as other, well, not the same way as other content, but
just about. Thank you for coming here. I want to get down into I want to know you because I know of you. That sounded like a worship song that I'm very familiar with. Now
I want to know you.
Anyways. Now I'm thinking of I want to know what love is.
I was thinking it too because I started singing the rhythm of it. I want to know what love is.
I need you. But no, everyone in the comedy scene knows of Mike Logan. Everyone knows, comedian. Puts out, he gets paid to do shows.
Well, he used to.
He used to get paid to do shows, but he's now quitting. Some people.
Well, not quitting.
You're not quitting?
No shows.
But I was told, I read that you are.
I retired from hosting open mics.
Okay, but you're not ending your comedy career?
No. I just said I was retiring from hosting open mics.
But the first and last album recording thing, you're not going to, this is just going to be your first and last? Or
it's
is
going to
that
be my first and last album, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm still going to do stand-up.
I was scared.
I'm just pivoting into a more digital existence, I guess, than stand-up. Because traditional stand-up, the way it existed before, I don't think will come back.
Right.
I just don't think, I don't think the clubs will stay open long enough.
Yeah, I don't think it's plausible.
Yeah, and I just don't see myself wanting to, travel to do a stand-up on rooftops and bridges and back alleys.
Rooftops does actually seem kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that. Did you watch?
I didn't watch Sam Morrill's.
Yeah,
no.
I didn't watch it yet either. But the concept of rooftop comedies,
I like it.
Nice
Yeah,
to me. I don't like outdoor comedy in general. I don't think
anybody does.
Yeah, and we've all been forced into it. But
yeah, I've never been a big fan of open mics. I use them for what they're supposed to be used for. I use them if I have new material to try out. Right. So I'm not really I wasn't one of those people. I was when I first started doing comedy, but in the last couple of years, I wasn't one of those guys who hit every open mic because it was an open mic. So for me, I'm not missing out too much.
Yeah.
And also obviously before I had my own show, so I didn't really need to go to other open mics. Now obviously if I want to do anything, I'll have to go to open mic because that's all there is.
Right.
But I still have a space that I'm going to be using all winter to produce shows and stuff. And I just really want to focus on
Congrats on the loophole, by the way.
Thank you. I'm very good. When the pandemic first happened, back in April, when it first happened, or March,
whenever this shit first started,
3 years ago, back in March, I had planned for stuff to shut down again in winter. I knew it was going. Everybody, I think people should have known it was going to. I think a lot of people did not prepare for that.
Yeah.
And I know that's how I actually got a lot of work. It was a lot of people were coming to me for digital creation stuff because they didn't realize that this is the kind of world we're living in. I had told a lot of these same businesses over the last couple of years when I started doing my own content. I'm like, hey, you guys should jump on this train. It's doing a lot of business for people. The bars that I've done.
Going to be profitable.
Yeah, the bars I've done video work for, they've seen really good growth based off of the videos. Because, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but toot. My videos average between 5,000 to 10,000 views on Facebook.
Right.
And on YouTube, depending on what they upload or what the content is, between 1 and 2,000.
Right.
But it's those are thousands of extra eyes that wouldn't have been on your business.
Exactly.
So to me, it's an easy pitch. And it was a hard pitch 2 years ago to anybody.
Right.
I would just be guys, trust me. Look at these videos.
Yeah.
Garage Bar was the only one who took a chance.
One of our first guests on this podcast was someone who does that same thing, trying to pitch basically the media, social media and the digital world to these companies, small businesses usually, that have not made that transition yet.
Yeah.
And I get like half the job is just convincing them that it's profitable.
Yeah, they don't know, and if you can't give them some sort of like concrete, like look, here's where like like what I do now is I just show them my YouTube stats. I'm just like, look at all this stuff. This is how many people could see your stuff, and then that usually gets them around. Nowadays, it's very easy because everything's digital.
Exactly.
And they're coming to me now, and they're like, hey, remember 2 years ago? I'm like, yeah, I do. Guess my price went up, didn't it? Yeah.
It's gonna take you a little bit more, and my schedule's a little bit packed.
I'm packed. I can't do anything. I'm gonna need an extra $5,000 for this.
Also, that guest was Austin Reno. I didn't want to completely throw that out with the bathwater, although those episodes are not really up to listen to anymore. Anyways, getting sidetracked. So you're not quitting stand-up. Good to hear.
Is that the consensus that I'm quitting stand-up?
That is some rumors. Just because of your first and last comedy album, people think you're not going to be doing stand-up. And for you to retire from hosting open mics, I think that's plausible.
Yeah.
Once again,
I hated it.
That's that's a reasonable move.
Yeah,
I'd say.
The reason I said first and last is for two reasons. One, I do plan on it being my first and last. I'm not saying that in 10 years maybe I'm successful and like Netflix is like, here's $30 million. Then I'm gonna make another album.
And if I can, but Netflix isn't gonna buy your album.
They're not gonna like go back on my Facebook and be like, but you said never mind. Let's get this contract back.
Right.
I did it just because I do feel like I do feel myself stepping away from stand-up. But I also did it because everybody would talk about it if I said that.
Well, yeah, rightfully so. And you're still recording that album?
Still a plan, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Good to hear. Like I said, I was scared. Not that much. We cross paths is whatever.
No, I essentially I've had a paradigm shift in my personality, and I've evolved into a different kind of person.
As I think a lot of us have been able to
like COVID's changed everybody, and I feel like for me personally, it's just changed completely who I am. And where was I going with this? It's changed who I am, and I feel like the things I want to say now are less stand-up-y, and they're more just like I want people to hear what I have to say, because I do have like fans, like people that respect what I say and like listen to what I say, and I do feel like and I do feel like at this point in my life, like I have a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and if I can pass that knowledge on in like a funny way, then that's how I'm going to do it. And I feel like stand-up is very shackling. Like it's very hard for me to like really emphasize my points on a stage confined to just that one room.
And when you're supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Like
sometimes
it's
I don't
all
want
in
to
the
be
context
funny.
Of funny.
Yeah. And like sometimes I don't want to be funny. Like Chappelle can get away with doing anything nowadays.
Exactly.
Like, and I want to be that kind of level where I can just like be irritated about, I don't know, for example, fucking Joe Biden, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
That's a weird example. But like I want to be able to like go and like do a show where I'm like maybe telling some jokes, but not really. But at the end, you're like, I really still like, I learned something and I enjoyed it.
Exactly. That. And Chappelle was my first thought when you had started saying that, because he does that same thing. He talks about something that's maybe troubling him or whatever, upsetting him, and sprinkles jokes in throughout. Yeah. But in the end, it's a point that he wanted to get across, and it's a message that he hadn't wanted people to learn from or whatever. Yeah. And if it's not that, then maybe I'm misconstruing it. But
I think it is.
I see it that's what you're getting at as well. And I think it's definitely a sign of true talent to be able to capture that attention for a diverse context. If it's not just for the funny, or if it's not just for like the TED Talk, people have to be really there for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew that like I could see, I wanted to do this like 2 years ago, but I knew I didn't have enough following yet, or at least I don't think people took me seriously enough. Right. Because like I don't know if anybody realizes how intelligent I actually am.
I think if anything, people just see your personality and they don't want to see the intelligence behind it. They're like, no, this guy's too much. He's already got this big personality. I don't want to think that there's brains behind it. Like, I'd rather just see him as a dick. Mostly.
Yeah, that why I was a dick. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. Like, I definitely,
I can be smart and a dick. I think that's.
Yeah, I think the difference now is like I'm still as smart as I was, but like I don't have like hate in me anymore. Right. So like now I'm just like, I want people to like actually like grow and learn and be better and shit. But before I was like, listen to my shit, motherfuckers, or else you're gonna die. Like that's not what
people don't take it well when there's malice in your heart.
Yeah, it's like I always compare it to like the whole like Professor X, Magneto, or Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr. like defense, where it's like they're both saying the same shit.
Right.
Completely the same thing, but they're both going about it obviously in completely different ways.
Exactly.
And I've been for years saying the exact same thing I've been saying for the last 9 months, but nobody's cared until the last 9 months.
Right.
And I realize it's probably because, like, one, I'm nicer than I was before.
Yeah, you found a way to format it better.
Yeah, I was like, oh, instead of just being angry all the time, if I'm just like nice, people are like, hey, this guy's got a good point.
Yeah. People actually, I think the phrase is, you attract more flies with sugar, but I don't remember how it goes.
I like
Anyways,
the start of that, though.
you attract more flies with sugar, but you attract more sugar being fly. Something like that. You know.
Is that a rapper's line?
No, that's an old adage, I think. I don't know.
Attract more flies, sugar, but sugar.
Or honey. No, that's what it is. You'll catch more flies with honey, but you'll catch a lot more honeys being fly.
Oh, okay.
There we
I like
go.
That.
That's what it was. I'm not an idiot. So, Mike, you got a heart out, so I will kind of rush quick. You are from Grand Rapids by way of Detroit, is what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
You're a Grand Rapids comedian by way of Detroit.
Yeah.
Is what I'm sure you're billed as.
Yeah, well, usually it's just from Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids,
I usually
yeah.
just say Detroit on stage, but,
Right?
Because it's too complicated.
Yeah,
to tell a host. I don't trust a host to even remember my name, so I'm just like giving them the bare minimum.
Hell yeah, that makes me feel great. As anyone taking me on the road as an MC, I remember most credits.
Well, I mean that's why. I mean, even when you MC'd in Rockford, like my credit, I think I had 1 credit.
Right.
It's like
I'll take it.
I'm like, I'm not gonna give somebody like I had a guy one time.
I'm not gonna give you a list to remember.
Dude, fucking every big name comedian gives you a fucking list, and I'm sorry, man. Like if you're like insert big name here, which I'm not gonna say their names, but like if you're like this big name comedian, people are already they know who the fuck you are.
They know where
they don't
they
need
saw
your credits, bro. I don't need to know that. They don't need to know that you once appeared on Amy Schumer fucking 17 years ago. Whatever.
They're not gonna be like, oh, that's where I saw
wait, that's
him.
him. I'm out of here.
Right. If anything, that's gonna be the reaction is, oh, he was in that.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
leaving.
like I worked with TJ Miller 2 weeks ago.
Right.
His I've worked with him multiple times, but his intro is always just star of Yogi Bear 3D and the Emoji Movie.
Yeah.
That's all he ever asked for.
I think he was in a movie like that too, or a movie or a show. Fucking Crashing, I think.
He was on the first episode. Yeah.
I think he had told Pete Holmes to introduce him the same way.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. I gotta rewatch that, man. That's funny.
I'm pretty sure. Or he didn't say trolls. I think it was Yogi Bear.
Well, it was the Emoji Movie because the Emoji Movie hadn't come out yet.
It was the Emoji
when
Movie
Crashing
though.
Was on. Was it an Emoji Movie?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure. Because when he had said that on the podcast, because I watched that episode of This Better Be Good.
Yeah.
And when he had said that on the podcast with his back to the camera while making a drink, I was like, I feel like I've seen this scene before.
He's a funny guy, but
very funny guy.
He can also like lose his shit sometimes, but
yeah, I think that's actually been documented.
I think a couple times on a train or something. I don't know.
You're from Detroit.
I am.
When did you come to Grand Rapids?
I don't know. Everyone asks. I'm so bad with time. I've never.
Right.
I don't know how long I've done comedy. Like it took me 3 years to rember my daughter's birthday. Like I'm just really
I
bad
to say names, so I'm glad.
I do always say when someone asks me how old my daughter is, I always say I don't know. It's pretty funny. People always go, "What?"
Catch up.
Fine. Chill out.
It's just a joke. I'm a father.
I moved here. So I moved to Petoskey after school, and I lived there for like 5 years, something like that. Then I moved to Grand Rapids.
Where'd you go to school?
Michigan State.
Oh, nice.
So then after school, I went up there to like just have a change of pace. It was. And then moved down to Grand
Drastically
Rapids.
so.
Moved down to Grand Rapids, and then just to do comedy. Like I came down here the first time to go to Laugh Fest because the hotel I worked at in Petoskey had like a big Christmas party, and they're like a really well-connected hotel. Right. And they were giving away trips at the Christmas party. Like everybody got a fucking trip.
Damn.
It's white as fuck up there.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like money.
And I won a trip to the Amway. And so I was like, why would I want to go to I've never been to Grand Rapids before. I don't know how long. So I'm 34, so 26 maybe, 25 or 26, something like that. Maybe 27.
Damn near 10 years ago.
And
9 years.
I was like, well, this is before I moved here, though. And I started looking up Grand Rapids to see what there is to do down here. Everybody in Petoskey was always like talking about going to Grand Rapids for the weekend. White people in Petoskey treat Grand Rapids like it's fucking New York, man. I swear to God.
It's the next biggest city.
I remember the first time I came here, I was just like, what? Because like everybody up there was just like, dude, it's amazing. The bars are open till 2. I'm like, you mean like every fucking city? Like, what are you talking about?
You mean like normal bars?
Yeah.
And you grew up in Detroit, like actual
I grew up in like
Detroit?
an actual city, like Detroit, Michigan, like the east side of Detroit. I grew up in a city.
Right.
Then I moved to Petoskey, and everyone's like blowing smoke up my skirt about this Grand Rapids city. So I'm like, fine, fuck it. I'll find out what there is. Then I see Laugh Fest is a thing. I'm like, what the fuck is Laugh Fest? I had never heard of it.
Right.
And so I look it up. I'm like, cool, I'll go down and I bought tickets to see Joel McHale at the Gerald R. Ford Fieldhouse. So I came down. I watched Joel McHale. I was here for like 3 days. I saw him on Saturday. The next night I went to Sunday Night Funnies at the Riverfront. Back when it was really good.
Well, it's a long time ago. But.
Oh, that show used to be so good, man. So I went in there and I'm just like, this place is fun. This is amazing. Like when I was at the Fieldhouse, it was like a professional show.
Right.
So like I've been to a professional show. I had never been to an open mic before.
Right.
So I sat there and I was watching the open mic and I'm like, this is crazy. The vibes in here are crazy. It's like free for all. The crowd's like yelling shit. Like I had never seen this. Like I had never watched an open mic show to know that this is how it was.
Right.
I always thought it was just everyone's to be quiet and they say ha 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 ha. Very good. Like I thought that was comedy.
People paid money to be here.
Yeah.
We will respect the show.
But instead I'm watching this and I'm watching Brian B go up there and like talk shit to people in the crowd and I'm like, this is fucking amazing. And then I watched all the comics and by the end of the show I thought I could do comedy.
My very first open mic that I ever went to, also Sunday Night Funnies.
Yeah.
Still at the
Riverfront or at the
where they are now.
The
Woody's or Woody's Press Box.
Well, they're not at Woody's anymore.
Well, it was Woody's Press
But yeah,
Box.
Woody's Press Box.
Now it's the Spectrum
Entertainment Complex. I was told by the manager to call it that and not a bowling alley.
Well, you did it.
I called it a bowling alley.
I was going to say
times.
you did it in front of bowling lanes.
Oh yeah.
So that
I don't know. Like they think they're only going to shoot from the fucking ground up. I don't know what.
Right.
Dude, that wasn't even the worst part of that whole weekend. The weekend was great. The shows were great. But like the GM of that place did not know how to turn off the lights in like because it's a big place.
Right.
And then like you've seen that new side, right? With all the cool like neon fucking installations.
Everything's kind of flashing still.
Yeah, it's like too bright for comedy.
Yeah.
And like the first show we just kept saying to the GM, TJ kept asking him, can you figure out how to turn this? I don't know how to turn them off. I was like, how long is? What do you mean you don't know how to turn them off?
You run this place,
I
right?
asked him, I'm like, have you ever turned them off? And he says, no, they just stay on. I'm like all day? And he's like, yeah. I said, how much is your electric bill a month? And he says, about 15 to $20,000. I'm like, turn your fucking lights off, man.
Do you know how to run a business?
Like,
I just
if you
need to
turned your
know.
lights off, you could have paid me an extra $500 for this show. That's all I'm saying.
Would have had the budget.
It would have been in there.
So from Sunday Night Funnies starts the dream.
Yeah, so then I moved down here 2 years later because I was like, all right, fine. I'm going to get my shit together, get my affairs in order. I want to wait for my daughter to be a little bit older before I moved away, obviously. And then old enough for me to be able to explain it to her.
Right.
And then, I moved down here and it was all... The first show was fucking great. Like, everyone talks about their first show. Oh, man, I went out there and ate shit. I was amazing. I was really good the first show. I have obviously bombed since then. But the first show was perfect. I just told a story I already knew.
Right.
And I was like, I'm good at storytelling.
And this is a story people have told me is funny.
Yeah, I was like, the story kills every time. I told it. People loved it. I remember Stu McAllister. Obviously, Brian was there. The GM of Grins at the time, who's no longer there. And then, like, a couple of comics who don't even live here anymore. They're all, like, in L.A., New York. But they were all there, and after the show, they were just like, hey, here's my information. So, like, I got, like, a really good head start.
Hell yeah.
And then I did fuck up my whole career for, like, 2 years after that. But I got a really good head start.
Well, it's good to know. And I'll get with you afterwards to...
I got a little extra time.
To know the
I told them that
pitfalls
was
is what I was going to
say. So if you want to ask, you can.
Well, I was going to just say, how'd you fuck up your career? That's what I was going to say afterwards. Would have been good. No, I'm kidding.
No, I'll say it now. It's a teachable lesson, a teachable moment. Now I'm known as like an outspoken person. Like I'm known as just saying whatever the fuck I want. I don't really care about consequences because I control my own money, so I don't really care. Like, if I had a boss, like I would care about what I say, but since I don't.
But that's the beauty of making and controlling all of your own content.
Like working for yourself, you're just like, I can say whatever the hell I want. There's no consequences.
Right.
I mean, there's consequences.
Who's going to fire me?
I'm not going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm making somebody mad, but it doesn't bother me.
Right.
But when I first started doing comedy, you don't do that when you first start doing comedy. You fucking shut up and you listen to people and you do your thing. Unless you're me and you have a great first set. Then you had to just talk a lot.
All the shit.
And so like I was like very outspoken, and I knew I was good at comedy. Like I'm good at comedy. I knew that. The problem was I didn't know how to be humble about it before anybody else could like respect me.
Right.
And so,
because there's still a process.
Yeah, I'm still
it.
like a new guy. Like I'm still acting, but I went on stage and fucking crushed. So I'm like, oh, I'm as good as all these people.
There we go.
In my mind, I didn't say it to all of them, but I'm like, I'm just as good as like anybody up there. And and I wasn't at the time. But one night I'm sitting in a bar and I was talking to somebody, and then a guy sitting next to me overhears our conversation and then says, "You a comedian?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." I'm like a year or two in. I think maybe 2 years, because I had already done Funniest Person in Grand Rapids once. And I was like, "Yeah, I am." Like, this guy's ready to have a conversation with me. "Have you ever done Funniest Person in Grand Rapids?" "I have, yeah." "Oh, you do it again this year?" "Nah, I don't think I like it." "Why not?" "I mean, it's a contest rigged for people who are popular to just bring whoever they want to win. It's not based on humor or whoever's funniest. It's just designed so the GM and Dr. Grins can make a bunch of money, and then nobody cares about comedy. It's run by an agency that does not give a shit about the comedians it represents." I just went off about all this shit. Then, we went our separate ways. And then for like 3-4 months, I kept trying to get on shows and nobody would put me on. And I would go to open mics and nobody would talk to me. And I was just, what the fuck is happening? And like a full year goes by where I'm just like not really doing much work. I'm getting like all these like black ghetto rooms. Like that's all I can get. Like I'm not getting any mainstream stuff. Right. And so I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like I was getting confused, getting kind of mad. Like I noticed there was like one black person at the time. At that time, the one black person was James Brown Jr. Technically, there was two. There was Floyd J. Phillips and James Brown Jr. and then Nardos Osterhart. Those are like the three black people that were okay to put in mainstream rooms. And I noticed that, and I was just like, why the fuck are they the only ones? And I was doing all these other shows and seeing that there's other comics, but they're not doing grins. They're not doing like the popular open mics. They're not traveling. So finally, I do a show for Gonzalo Pagan in the back of a Mexican restaurant.
Yep, that sounds like a Pagan
And
show.
it was a great show. It was like packed, like 300 people in this tiny fucking Mexican restaurant. And like Pagan, like, they loved him. Josh Courtney went up. He fucking did like raps and shit. They fucking loved. I went up and fucking crushed. It was a great fucking show. I was like, dude, why does nobody book me, man? So then I'm sitting at the show, we're chit-chatting like we do. And Courtney and I are talking for about 10 minutes. And then he just says, I don't know why people don't like you. Oh. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I don't know why everyone thinks you're an asshole. And I was like, who thinks I'm an asshole? He's like, everybody thinks you're an asshole. And I was like, why does everyone think I'm an asshole? Apparently the guy I was talking to is the now former general manager of Dr. Grins. So I said all that shit to him, and then he told like Stu and like, Garrett, Adam Deggy, Josh, all the people who would like control all the stuff in Grand Rapids at the time. And they just didn't, nobody asked me about it, but obviously they're not going to. I'm a new open mic comic.
Exactly.
Who's
They're
mouthing off.
Assume, who's already just talking.
Yeah, like if an open micer would have done that to me, I would have done the exact same shit to him. I'd have been like, really, kid? Or actually, no, I lie. A year ago, me would have done the same shit to him. Now me would have been like, listen.
Listen,
let me tell you something,
kid. You get it.
Maybe don't tell anybody else that.
Exactly. Like, we understand it.
Yeah. And so, like, that's how I got blackballed for 2 years. Finally, I ended up going to an apology tour and be like, guys, I don't think I'm better than anybody.
Right.
Now all of them are friends.
I just have opinions about a thing.
Yeah, now I can do it and it's fine. But like, I don't know. I've just always been frustrated by the fact that society in general doesn't speak up about things that everybody hates. Right. Like everybody hates the same shit, but nobody says anything. Yeah. And it's like there's a comedy agency in the Midwest that like everybody who works for them hates. They don't like them. They talk shit about every time they do a gig for them. And so finally I was like, why the fuck does nobody say this? Right. So then I got one on my Facebook a couple years ago and like called them out for all of like their really bad like sexist and racist practices. Right. And everyone was liking it. Oh, I'm glad someone said it. I'm like, why the fuck didn't you say it?
Yeah. So if you knew that's the biggest thing, especially that we see, like literally see visible. Yeah. Like in comments and agreement. But like you knew what I know. Yeah. You could have done the same thing. That's like where people have the same information. A lot of things could be stopped in their tracks a lot sooner than they do get. And even if they're not stopped in their tracks, people can be up to date, I guess, on the happenings and behind the scenes. But I think the difficulty is there's still people profiting.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem is nobody wants their wallet fucked with. Exactly. And so nobody says anything. But I mean, I looked at it and I'm just like, the companies that I was talking about, I looked at my schedule that month and like I think I had 17 shows that month, and 2 of them were from that company.
Right.
And I realized that I had booked all the other shows. So I was like, I don't need them.
I'm not losing.
I'm like, I think I was losing. It's 2 shows, so $100 or $235 or some shit, because the company isn't the best paying company, and so like it's anybody's who knows the company's gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about. But
I think anyone who's had you as a friend on Facebook,
they'll know what I'm talking about. But I mean, it's just like if you look at it and you think to yourself, like you're like, well, I'm missing out on these 2 gigs. Like, yeah, but think about it money wise.
Yeah,
you're not getting like exposure from these gigs. Like they're small shows, unless you're doing like a big room that they have. You're making what amounts to enough to pay 2 bills in a month. You could easily replace that with something else. You could just book 2 different shows. Like, just take those shows and book something else.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I tell everybody that who like has a problem with like either their work or I'm like, dude, quit. Get a different job and then quit. Like, have something lined up. Don't be on your ass. But fucking find it. There's other jobs.
And that's been I had to learn that lesson the hard way a lot.
Most people do.
But I'm sure I'm not.
I did.
I'm sure I'm not an anomaly. But that is the hardest thing, is to go without money for a month and just be like, oh, so this is my learning lesson. Like, this is not the moment I needed to be taught this.
Well, the thing is, though, once you don't have money, you then aren't scared of losing money again.
Exactly.
Either that or you are.
Or you're very afraid to be in that position.
I mean, either that
again.
or it's like, I've been poor before. It's not the end of the world. We'll be fine kind of mentality. Or you're like, I don't ever want to be fucking poor again. So it's like probably 2 extremes.
Right.
But like, I think for the most part, people are like, we'll survive this. We'll make it through. We've been through worse times.
Yeah. But
it's that first time you have to get to before you understand that things will be okay afterward.
Exactly. That's why I'm fucking happy I smoked crack, because because now that I beat it, I know there's so many places I have to go before I'll be back to that.
Dude, I legit sometimes I've thought, when I used to watch True Hollywood Stories as a kid, I would be like, I got to get into like hardcore drugs at some point in my life, just
like
so I can have like a barometer to bounce myself out.
Exactly.
Like anytime anything bad happens to me, like if like I fucking stub my toe,
right?
It's like, oh fucking goddamn fucking shit. But if I had done crack before, I'm like, well, I mean, I was addicted to crack at one point.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually the best thing I could ask for my body at this point. This is not half as bad, I'd say.
That is how I get myself out of funks, though. As I do think, if I'm doing something bad, I'm like, well, this has happened to me before, so can't be too pissed about this one thing.
And everything's relative to a shittier time.
Exactly. That's such a great I wish everybody had that fucking mentality.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's what I try to. It's fucking A. It's desirable. It's easier said than done. I don't know why the fuck.
Easier said than done. Oh,
I don't know why I can't think of the actual word I'm thinking of. But yeah, it's a desirable. It'd be
If you could use it in a sentence, I could probably fill in the word for you.
All right. Like, you would like this to happen.
Preferable.
Yes, it's a preferable way. There we go. Desirable, preferable. It's a preferable way to live your life, but it's not always plausible.
Right.
Possible.
Nowadays.
I've used the word plausible now maybe 3 or 4 times in this episode. Don't know why. Yeah.
It's a good word.
And I mean, it's been great for the context every time. All right. So we'll get you out of here. I do want to ask you, so you're moving into more of the digital realm.
Yeah.
And so with that, do you have more content coming out that you want to promote, or anything that you want to?
You're a good host, Hunter.
I do what I can.
I do actually have some content I want to promote.
Oh, beautiful. I'm glad
I know.
I
what a coincidence.
I was so glad I asked.
So people haven't seen me a lot recently.
Right.
Obviously, I've been going through a lot of things, but for the last month, I've been refocusing, pivoting, I guess, and I'm launching a Patreon tomorrow.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's a Patreon with like exclusive content you can't get anywhere else, including my YouTube, TikTok, Instagram fan page.
I was gonna say,
else.
you have so much content out there that the idea that there could be exclusive content, you'd be like, wait, does he have enough hours in the day?
Oh man, I do. When there's a lot of times when I do stuff and I think to myself, this is just for me. Like, I'll do something and I think it's hilarious. And I'm like,
right,
this is just for me.
I'll just save it for me.
But then I'm like, well, no. Why not share it with people?
Right.
And there's other things there's like series that I've started and then just stopped doing because like things have come up. Like Cooking with Mike, quarantine takeout. Like, I've done these like series. the truth about what the government isn't telling you about quarantine, COVID-19, which was a one-time video. It was a fake character of like a guy who was like conspiracy, like an anti-masker conspiracy kind of guy.
Right.
And I filmed it on my front porch. Like in the middle of summer, across the street from this park that's like, you've been from the ghetto, like a fucking like hobo park. So I'm on my front porch just yelling, like just like, coronavirus is a myth. I've got like a fucking trucker hat on and
nice.
shit.
And I'm sure there's like actually several agreements behind you.
There were like two guys in the park who were like, hell yeah, brother. Dude, but yeah, there's like there's a liquor store on my corner that got robbed last night. There's a liquor store on my corner that I'm going to follow the guy who works there around for a day. He's this like gay black dude who does not take shit from
I know
anyone.
exactly who you're talking
I love
about.
That guy, man. So like I'm gonna do like an episode or a day where I walk around with him and follow him around all day. So like the Patreon will have like all this new content that I'm not gonna put on anything else.
I am so glad that your mind is in the creative realm of Grand Rapids, because I've also seen that guy and thought, God damn, this man is a character.
Dude, there are people I've met in this city who I've just cataloged.
Yes.
It's like, these people are going to be people I'm going to follow around with a camera one day. Jeez. And now, with a Patreon launch tomorrow, I will be able to do that and have some place for people to go see. Because I don't want to do, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put that on my YouTube channel until it's like a monetized source.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, no offense to anybody who likes my content, I can't do it for free.
Right.
Like, it's not possible.
Understandably so.
So that's what the Patreon is. And it's got different tiers. I believe it's $5, $8, and $10.
Gotcha.
And then, like, the $5 tier is pretty basic, but you still get a lot of stuff with it. Mm-hmm. You get my exclusive news feed that has content that I won't put on Facebook.
Right.
So, like, stuff that, you know, I don't want my mom to see. It's got sketches that I won't put on my YouTube channel. I'll still be uploading all my other stuff to that. But I'll have extra exclusives like that'll only be on Patreon.
Yeah.
The
you're not going to be
will...
missing the
good stuff.
You're not going to be missing the regular content.
Yeah, like the stuff you're used to, like random ass sketches from me, garage bar videos, like all that kind of stuff will still be coming.
Right.
It's just the really good stuff. It's going to be behind the paywall.
For that good.
I mean, there's going to be some good shit over there. I've got like a release schedule for the next 2 months. Like, I'm
hell yeah.
really excited about this shit.
Right.
So yeah, tomorrow to launch, people can go to my fan page. All of my social media will be all over that.
Hell yeah.
Day one, there's going to be one video, one sketch, and then a couple, like I'll just post to the feed all day. I forgot what the other tiers are. Tier 2, which is $8, you get to I'll look them up.
Ooh, are you doing live Zoom chats? Oh. That wasn't a no, so I'll take it.
Where are we at here? Okay, fuck, I'll just try to remember them. It's something along the lines of like the $5 is my news feed and then exclusive videos. The $8 is you get one personalized sketch a month. And then you also get exclusive chat with me 24 hours a day.
A personalized sketch sounds...
Personalized sketch each month.
Jeez.
And then the top tier... God, there's one more thing in the top tier. But then obviously, whenever you pay for more tiers, you get whatever's below it too.
Right.
So like if you pay $10, you get, you know, my news feed, sketches, one custom sketch a month, access to me in chat, and then whatever the hell the other thing It'll all be
that other top
It'll
thing.
all be announced tomorrow, but there's a lot of cool stuff in it, I think. And if people are a fan of me, which there are people who are, I always have to keep telling myself that.
Yeah.
But I think they're really going to enjoy it.
I have to keep assuring myself that there are
people like me.
I do have fans, and this will be worthwhile.
It's such a weird hurdle I'm having to get over because this is essentially me finally making that leap into just full blown entertainer.
Right.
Like, no side gigs, no fucking like this is just what I'm going for.
Yeah.
So it's like a big like risk.
Yeah.
And like it is a it's very. I'm taking it on December 1st. Like the worst time to be
going into Christmas time.
Tell my landlord, hey, listen, guys, this month's gonna be weird.
We're about to give it all up to chance. You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm just betting on myself, man. Someone's got to.
Exactly. Fuck yeah, dude. And that's where we're all trying to get. Yeah. I think as content creators or as comedians, especially, like my dream with comedy has been to be self-sufficient on my own words.
Yeah,
basically, and to see you taking that leap is fucking awesome. I mean, I barely saw you at Fulton Street, so I didn't know if you ever had a real job or whatever.
I worked there one day a week.
Yeah, see,
I only did it. I told Joe I got the job because I was drinking there too much, for one thing.
Right.
Because like at that point I was full blown touring.
I got to take some money from this place now.
Well, yeah, I was touring and then I'd be home so I was gone. I was on the road every week for like 2 years, from like Thursday through Sunday.
Right.
So I would come home Sundays and like want to drink, so I'd go to the pub, and then Monday I'd do the garage bar, so I wouldn't drink until the end of the night.
Right.
But then Tuesdays I would shoot videos, and then Wednesdays I would always have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I'd go to the pub, and I'd get fucking hammered. I was spending like money like at the pub. And so then finally I was just like, Joe put that they were applying or hiring. I was like, if I can get that Wednesday filled and I'll make money.
Yeah, can I get that filled with working and not drinking today?
Yeah. And so like I told them, and they hired me for that one day a week.
Fuck yeah.
And so like for one day, the one day I had off, I would just go to work, and then it would be open mic. So every now and then I would just get to work out my comedy, and they were paying me to do it. So it was real cushy.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was a win-win situation right there.
Yeah. Oh, and then all summer I had, when I was with my now ex-fiance, we were running her mom's Airbnb, which she was giving to us when we got married.
Oh.
So, like, that point, in the middle of summer, first of all, I had too much money.
Yeah.
Like, I had already had unemployment, so I had to cancel that when I started doing the Airbnb thing. But they had already paid me a fuck ton because they backed me up for 2 months. So, like, they didn't pay me for 2 months after the beginning of quarantine. So, for 2 months, I was like, this is ain't no fucking work. So then they announced the PUA, which is like for entertainers, and so I applied for that because I don't have any like much paper trails. Like, you know, a lot of it's cash and stuff. So like I had to apply for the PUA, and then they're like, okay, well, you know, you qualified. You'll see your first payment within the next week. 2 days later, they paid me $3,000. And so I was like, okay. And then the next week, they paid me like some more shit. They paid me like another $2,000.
Right.
Then like the week after that, like we got the Airbnb stuff.
Right.
So then like the first month, I had all that unemployment, and then I had $8,000 from the Airbnb.
Like, oh no, I think I'm
just gonna quit everything.
You know what? Yeah. After I hit a monetary jackpot like that, then yeah, maybe I will take that leap.
I think I'm just gonna take a leap.
Yeah.
So this is the leap we're taking. I worked all summer, and now I'm gonna try and.
And at this point, it doesn't seem like so much is a leap. It seems like more of like a.
It seems like a calculated risk at this point.
Yeah. More like a. I have a parachute.
I hope so. I just hope nobody poked a hole in it.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Mike. You can follow Mike if you've enjoyed him here, which I hope you have. You can follow Mike on all social media, basically.
Look, I'm Janelle Monáe.
I took the hat off earlier. I forgot. I'm sorry. You can follow Mike Logan on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and his fan page on Facebook at IceColdComedian, and his YouTube page at Yes, IceColdComedian, and follow those, and you'll find the posts tomorrow about the Patreon, the exclusive Patreon channel featuring the ever so beautiful Mr. Mike Logan and newly single ladies. Get out there.
Next
Come
time
on
you're
in.
The podcast, you'll have to ask me about all the thirsty girls who've hit me up the last couple of weeks.
Exactly, especially just because of this episode.
Oh, it's been so fun.
I know. we average about 30 listeners, so I just I imagine that
I can't wait for the flood that's going to come after this.
I can tell you it probably won't be more of a flood. It would probably be, I'd say, what's a dick slide? I don't know what.
Instead of a flood, it's like we can swear on this, right? I don't swear very much.
Yeah.
Is it like, would it be like a cum lube?
Yeah.
Then the
Instead of a flood, it'd be more like a pre-cum, you know?
Yeah, it's like a pre-cum.
It's like a pre-cum.
It's just like dangling in front of you. You're just like, no, I'm good.
Awesome. So thank you so much for coming in, Mike. I appreciate you. And we actually will be joined by some special guests here to close out the rest of the pod.
Y'all got a band?
No, I wish. We got two musicians. So yeah, I mean,
so y'all got a band?
They are a band. They could be, but they will be coming in as you leave. But once again, I thank you so much for joining me, Mike. It was actually nice to learn a little bit about you because I just know of the man, the myth, the legend that is Mike Logan. No one says that, by the way. I just need you to know that.
I'm glad.
No. But I do, like, starting out in comedy in Grand Rapids, doing the open mics and stuff, there's people that you learn that you want to know.
Sure, yeah.
You're obviously one of them. For me, Mike Bustler was another one of them. Josh Ortega, Garrett Elzinga. These are all
because we all hang out with each other.
Right. I know. But, like, Adam Deggy, like, these were all people that I wanted to and be able to hang out with. Those are the people I want to like me.
Oh, all right.
Like in comedy.
That's high praise.
But and so every day I'm just striving for that. So that's why you're on this podcast. So I hope.
Damn, man. No. Shit. I gotta drive home, man. You're gonna make me fucking Sam Elliott and fucking.
I was just gonna try to get you to come at your steering wheel. I was just trying to send you home with something nice to think about.
Oh, that's funny. All right, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Of course, man. Thank you for coming out.
I got to pee and then pump iron.
Yeah, dude. Go ahead. Also, be careful getting out of Zealand.
I got pulled over here once. The last time I was ever in Zealand, I got pulled over. It was during a show, and I was leaving, and this is like 45 years ago or something. 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, but still, it's the same old Zealand.
Yeah, I imagine. I'm going to hit that cruise control the second I get out of here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put the hat on and be like, I'm one of y'all. Look, I'm a
making
Smokey.
an album.
I'm the bandit. I don't know. All right.
Thank you so much. Can we get an applause break on our beautiful Mike Logan? Again, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate you. And also, yeah, once again, be safe on these Zealand streets. I'm
not going to drag down the mile stretches like I did on the way here.
Yeah, smart move. It's not daylight anymore. Oh, jeez.
All right.
All right. And actually, we will be playing Mike's clip right now. Dumb fucking apples.
Dumb fucking apples.
There we go.
You can buy this shirt, by the way, too.
And you can also find the clip. Where can you buy the shirt?
Just send me a message on my fan page, and I'll send you the details.
Beautiful. And then you can find the clip that we're about to play on his YouTube channel, The IceColdComedian.
Oh, hey.
My favorite tip is drinking Worcestershire sauce.
Mike Logan here with a message to EDS Schönborn Orchards. Listen, it's okay that you have a racist piece of shit son working there. And it's all right that he decides to spit on his migrant workers and for some reason call him the N-word. Just like it's okay that Valerie and David, the mother and father, don't understand why he's in trouble right now for being a racist piece of shit. In fact, some might even say it's okay that Valerie is confused as to why he would even call Mexicans the N-word. They are not black. It's also okay that David thinks that, well, there are no niggers working here that I know of. Yeah, that makes sense, David. Anyway, what I'm saying is it's okay for all these things to happen because now it's okay for us to stop eating your dumb fucking apples. In fact, did you know that historically in cinema, people who eat apples are evil characters? True. All the way from Snow White's evil step, whatever she was, up to Brad Pitt in Fight Club, depending on your ideology. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I'm gonna go chug this glass full of Worcestershire sauce because it'd be better than putting one of your dumb fucking apples in my mouth.
Hello, and we're back. I am now joined. Thank you for the warm welcome. We are now joined by a lovely guest, a fan favorite, if you will. I listened to the fans. We saw the views. We've been studying analytics, and you know what? I've had two. Oh, Shiza. Okay, it almost.
You've had two shits today.
All right, there we go. I've had two comics. Wow. I've had two guests get a ton of views on this channel, on the YouTube channel. And I thought, you know what? I should combine them. But we only have one microphone for them. So we'll bring in the first one. Mr. Jim Versluis, that I learned his name.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me over again. I assume you got good ads.
Yeah.
You know?
No. So we accrued a few sponsors. No, I'm kidding.
You accrued?
Accrued. I don't know if that's
secured.
Secured. Accrued. I don't know.
You crewed?
Accrued.
Did you get Manscaped, dog?
No, I wish. No, we didn't get any sponsors yet. I think we're still busy applying for them. But
McDonald's.
I've heard that's a tough gig.
I mean, I don't know what kind of setup that they're going to insist that you have, but it's probably not this.
I think our content is a little bit safer. I hope that was good move. Okay, sorry. I've been worried about that case.
I assume it's safer.
Yeah. Our content's definitely. We don't feature any outside clips except for the one that you guys just saw, but we don't get any outside clips, which I I'm sad about, but I also don't want this podcast to just become like a wannabe of other podcasts that I like.
You got to find your lane, and however you want to do that with clips. I mean, I liked that feature, so
Thank you. I'm glad.
yeah.
But now we just need, if we had an actual following, maybe they'd send in some clips. So this is the invitation. Hey, if you got a clip you'd like us to comment on, why don't you send it in to Where Is This Going?
The grosser, the better.
pod@gmail.com. Where is this going? The grosser, the better. That'd be a really long email address. No, where is this going? pod@gmail.com. The grosser, the better, please. But please, nothing my grandma wouldn't like. I'm still trying to get her to watch this show. Jimmy, my boy.
Yes.
You got to witness something this after I'm just talking about like not becoming a wannabe of the podcast that I like. Okay, so you got to witness YMH Live this week, and I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of your reaction.
Okay.
Because those who have listened to this podcast, especially our earlier episodes, specifically with Mark Glass, know that we are big fans of Tom Segura and YMH, Your Mom's House, and
Christine.
And Christine, yes. Tim and Christine. And I have not purchased a live pass, you could say. I've not rented one of their live videos. I just have to get a little bit of your experience, I guess.
Well, I rented number one.
Number one.
Yeah. I think that I had like a hoedown, and so I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah.
And number two I missed, but when number two came out, I watched the first one, and it was everything and more
right
that I wanted. And then I got like, I don't know, halfway through number two and had to take a shit, and so then I don't think that I finished that one. But see, that's the thing, is I need to re-rent it, so it's another like $10. So
right, so you had to take a shit, so you just missed the rest of. Where were you watching?
I at my mom's she shed.
Okay.
Yeah, her hoe hut, and
that's a better name for it. I don't hear as much.
Someone called it the Coochie Cabin, or the Coochie Cavern.
Oh, wait, what about a
Slut Shack was one of them too.
I had one. I lost it. It was the Cunt Hole, but that's not really an alliteration.
Cunt Cove.
Cunt Cove.
I think would be a good one.
There we go. That's collaboration right there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I was watching it in the Cunt Cove,
right? And
there was one instance in number one where I thought someone died. And
was it confirmed or not whether they had
No.
Still up in the air.
No, it as it should. And so I watched number three, and Jake got to see number three as well. And I mean, some pretty crazy shit, and I was really happy that they included older, like the poutine Norm Somerton, his poutine.
But it was just like uncensored.
Right.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's all uncensored.
Stuff they can't do on YouTube.
Right.
So there was just an unleashed atmosphere amongst the whole thing. There were quite a few guests. I mean, it's out.
Yeah.
And it's promoted, so I can't really...
Yeah.
Danny Brown is on it, and it's great.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, he's a great special guest, and they show him some crazy shit. Yeah.
I still need to hear that Marc Rebillet song. Rebillet. I'm not going to do a French accent.
I can show it to you because I have the stream for the next few hours.
Bet. We're going to listen to it after this. I also did want to talk to you about comedy and podcasts, because you are a very funny person to me. I enjoy your humor.
Thanks.
And I say to me, and that almost sounds like a slight, but you're very funny.
Oh, well.
And anyone who shares like common podcast interests with me, to me it tells me that they do care about comedy and or podcasts. So do you have any talk to me about stand-up comedy for you.
The love of it was established pretty early on. I remember my family, my father's side, we would go up to this cabin in Grand Haven on the lake, and we would rent that for a week throughout my childhood, every week during the summer. For like, I don't know, I think the record was probably like 17 or 18 years that I went every single year. So, and that was far reaching into like when my father was a kid. They just they knew the family. So so a lot of memories of watching films and watching comedy movies was there. So that's when I started watching like the Blues Brothers and but also like Predator and like getting into those movies that when you see a huge rack of old VHS tapes, you'd hope you'd see the Blues Brothers and Predator and
classics.
Lethal Weapon 2 and shit like that, you know. So my aunt showed me Robin Williams on Broadway, and that killed me. And I remember knowing that it's dirty and knowing that it's naughty, but still being too young to understand everything. But he's so good at just I mean, it's just pure expression.
I was just gonna say, at just exuding funny.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams, I didn't start to listen or anything to any of his stand-up until I want to say it was like 5 years ago or something like that, maybe. But a lot dirtier than I thought the genie from Aladdin to be.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I mean, he was. Probably the earliest memory of him was probably Jumanji. I would assume
me,
that was such
like
a huge.
Flubber.
That was a huge movie. Flubber was a big one too. Yeah. I loved Flubber as a kid.
As a kid, make that distinction.
I don't. It's been a solid.
I've tried
8 or 10 years since I've seen Flubber. So I think the dude from Jumanji, I didn't realize was so fucking funny and so quick, and that's what drew me in. Where like later on, I got into like Anthony Jeselnik and how he's a very economical comedian, using as few words as possible. When he gets to the punchline, it's so satisfying because you've been holding on to every word.
Exactly.
So like I enjoy that now more, but also like anytime I see Chappelle, I'm brought in. Like he's so good at holding my attention. Like
and that's what we were just talking about with Mike. Like he can, you have to have something about you as a person that people can tune in to watch, knowing that it will be funny in some parts, but they're really just watching to watch you or to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it, I mean, we all fell in love with Chappelle as a comedian. Yeah. Or like as a comedic. I say we all. Those who.
My father loved Chappelle's show and showed it to me when I was way too young. And
I think we all, most of us saw Chappelle's show way too young.
I mean, what's way too young though?
I'd say 5th grade when I was rushing home to watch it was probably on the cusp of too young.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I remember loving Chappelle.
Right.
And also he was in The Nutty Professor, which is another VHS movie you'd hope to see in that stack.
And I think that was one of his first movie, but he was, I forgot who that part was, who was supposed to do that part. They were talking about it in, I think it was like his Mark Twain special.
His acceptance speech for the award.
I forgot there was someone else was supposed to play that. I think it was like Eddie Griffith or something like that, or
that's who came to mind.
Martin? No, it wasn't Martin Lawrence. Maybe Martin Lawrence. I don't remember. Anyway,
I mean, how many of them at the time?
Like 5.
Right.
What do you mean of them?
Of.
Yeah, we get it. Neil Brennan made the joke on that same special where he had come up in a time where there could only be one famous black comedian, as opposed to now where there can be 3.
Right.
Yeah.
But also I think you see that in actors now.
Oh, definitely.
Like, you know, you start to run out. really quickly, and that's sad.
Yeah, and then we just need to raise a new class of Michael B. Jordans and
Chadwick Boseman's.
Hey, come on. Relax, dude. Too soon.
Rip.
I get it. All right. Dude, bro.
Yeah. So, back to me.
Yeah.
Back to me and my problems.
Comedy.
So, early on,
Yeah.
I loved it. I remember watching Uncensored Comedy Central. I remember watching, fucking gross. I remember watching.
Disgusting.
Mad TV was a big one.
Yes.
I was a theater kid too, and I loved stand up, and I loved comedy. I loved Comedy Central.
I love sketch in general.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mad TV was a big thing. Like, and I hadn't even really heard of SNL that much when I was watching Mad TV, so I didn't know there was a comparison like at the time. But Mad TV was like a big thing for me comedically. Just like the look what I can do, like just the type of characters that then I could take into social situations and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Mad TV helped me learn how to be funny.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I feel you on that. And surprisingly, there were also kids around that did watch Mad TV.
Right.
It wasn't just SNL wasn't the only thing on television that was like a recurring comedy. Like I really, really liked just that you could go back to characters with Mad TV, and SNL obviously did that too, but there's something that there's a little bit more crudeness to it, but it was also, I thought, well written. Yeah, and so I fell off the SNL thing probably in like middle school, and then like really got into Mad TV when, in hindsight, it was probably a pretty good cast on SNL back when I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9. Like, it was, but the 90s was so good that, it was kind of just a plummet, except for like a few. I'm not saying SNL is like a shitty institution.
But no, I know what you mean. Because like I wasn't really into SNL when it was like the Andy Samberg era. Andy Samberg, and I'm thinking of Bill Hader
and Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, and Kristen Wiig, Fred Armisen. Like I wasn't watching during then. Like I just saw some Lonely Island stuff, and I'm trying to remember who else was there. Anyways, doesn't matter. But I wasn't like a huge follower of SNL at all. I had obviously known what it was, and I thought those, like, their digital shorts, that's when like their digital shorts were starting to blow up, I thought, and I thought those were funny, but I still wasn't watching the actual show. And I think maybe it was just because of my age, but it always seemed to me to be like an adult thing to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And I do think though that SNL like really brought up like Tina Fey's career, and like that's the one person out of SNL in the last like, I don't know, 20 years, I guess, that I've been like following everything they do. Right. It seems.
I do love Amy Poehler as well, but Tina Fey,
so amazing. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Amy Poehler is. Yeah, there are those certain people that you'd like, you kind of just, you'd love to see a stand-up special from, but you also wonder what in the hell that would look like because it's new to your mind.
I've had that with. I want to see. I wanted to see Hannibal Buress do a new special, which I did, and I was so happy about. Have you seen that Miami Nights special on YouTube?
I have not. No.
Really good. But there was someone I was like begging to see something new from, and now for the life of me I can't remember who I was thinking of. But if you could meet, well, okay, I have to know this first. What is your education or your knowledge of like current comedians, working comedians, I'll say? Like, who do you see putting out specials right now or appearing on podcasts that you think are funny as stand-ups?
In the last few years, Segura's been a big one. I remember it was I think it's his first special, whatever, the Before Mostly Stories.
Yeah,
I think.
I can't think.
He's really fat.
Yeah. Tommy was a fat boy. I've shown my girlfriend those specials. She goes, "That's him."
Like, he's hot.
Yeah. Now
he's hot. But yeah, just I love that kind of deadpan.
Yes.
That deadpan shit. I mean, Beau Burnham was a big one. Like, certainly coming out of high school,
right.
Stuff like that.
Beau Burnham was it was the first CD or like comedy CD that I had. It wasn't mine. I think it was Quigley's.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember being introduced to that my freshman year and realizing that like comedy was obviously, I knew that people made funny songs, but that like even stand-up comedy could be that kind of musical production as well was super cool to me.
Yeah.
I love Beau Burnham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beau Burnham was definitely a big one. I saw him in Allendale. He performed at Grand Valley.
Damn.
On when he was writing the What special that would eventually become What.
Right.
It was like that. He was touring that. It was hilarious.
Holy.
Another one that I really, really love is Maria Bamford.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of Maria Bamford.
We just finished Arrested Development, and like I think it's the last 2 seasons she's in, basically.
Yeah.
And as Debris, very funny.
Yeah.
Very hilarious.
Yeah. I've followed her for a few years now, and she always came to the Wealthy Theater for Laugh Fest, and I'd never had gotten a ticket, and I feel like a fucking poser because
now it's never gonna happen.
Right, I'm never gonna see Maria Bamford, and
there was so many that I wanted to see this year, but then I think like the latter half of Laugh Fest got canceled.
I was gonna see Fortune Feimster.
That's me and Haley were talking about seeing her too. Did you see her special at least?
I did.
Great.
Yep.
Special.
Yep.
I love her southern, like it's obviously like a southern sweetness kind of hospitality, but she's just so funny.
Yeah, when she was on Chelsea Lately's show and she came out as Ivanka Trump, and then she a second time came out as Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Anybody that's listening should check that out. Fortune Feimster is hilarious, and she was on that show for a while, but in Grand Rapids was going to be her first tour date, I think, of that tour. I think she was like kicking it off at Laugh Fest, so it would have been nice to see her at Fountain Street, but 2025
right.
will be
Everyone just keeps pushing it further and further out. So 2042 will be back to live concerts and whatnot, and it'll be a fun time. But I was going to say, right now, if you had to see a new special from any of your favorite comedians, even if they've just come out with something, if you wanted to see what someone had to say about what's going on right now, who do you think you would want to see first? Or who do you think would do a great job of it? Either one. That's an open-ended question. I apologize.
Well, I'm gonna say, because I'm a recent fan, I'm gonna say Johnny Pemberton. I love watching his Twitch streams, and I think that sort of aesthetic, I think, would serve him really well. And I choose
Johnny.
I choose Johnny Pemberton.
I love that he's been in so many movies that you wouldn't really, because it's not he has like a doughy, goofy kind of face that you would think to be very memorable, but it just kind of fades into whatever character it is, and it's usually like a nerdy type of, because he just looks like a good boy.
Yes.
Johnny Pemberton looks like a good boy.
From Minnesota. Good old boy.
And I think, what movie am I thinking of, right? 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
He's one of the nerdy kids in 21 Jump Street, but so funny. Watching him interact on YMH2 was pretty good.
Yep.
A great episode. And that's an interesting take. You know what? I like that. It wasn't a mainstream answer. And you know what? You look like a hipster, and that's what I was expecting.
Hell yeah. I needed to go for the jugular on that one. I knew I needed a wild card.
You're like, I'm going out of the box. I'm going out of the box. No one's going to know.
I have to. So, yeah, I choose that one. But I'm sure that there's a better answer in
comedy
in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
When this will eventually come back to me.
Nice. Well, I thank you for hopping in here, Jim. We had some time to fill, and I just wanted to have some fun with a familiar face that I like, and I think the people kind of like too, or whatever.
Oh, well, that's very nice. I'm happy that you wanted to catch up.
Oh, glad. And then soon we'll watch that video here. But for now, we'll sign off. Once again, you can follow Jim on Instagram and Twitter at Jim Versluis. Is it just Jim or is it Jimmy?
It's Jimmy.
It's Jimmy Versluis. Versluis.
That's right.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HMarcelTheShell. And you can follow the podcast at on Instagram at Where Is This Going Pod, and on Twitter at Where Is This Go Po. Please subscribe to us on YouTube and the podcast on Apple, and follow us on Spotify. And you know what? So, yeah, do all the things. Subscribe, leave a comment, email us at whereisthisgoingpod@gmail.com. And you know what? You can go ahead and text me if you have my number. I'm not giving it out. But thank you guys so much for listening, watching. If you are, tell your friends if you think they'll like it. And if you think they won't, fuck them. We love you. Thank you.